Let's learn Japanese together, class. The word of the day is ara ara. Can you say ara ara?
Abraham Lincoln.
Not good enough, F minus minus.
Oh.
Greetings, everyone, to another episode of Season 4 of the TomoBros podcast. With me today are the brothers Pugum, Noodle, and Ditaku.
I'm just here for the food.
You know, it's fair. It's a fair cop, really. Yes, today we are doing a makeup episode for one of the lost legendary episodes of Season 2. And this one requires a little bit of explanation, insofar as, no one seems to know what the show's about, because they'll watch, a 5-minute clip and make assumptions and then click off of it, and never actually watch it, and let alone read the books. Because,
To be fair, the light novels also lean into the approximately the 2 volumes, really. After that, they kind of just drop it as just for the ludicrousness. More of, it's a mom in an MMO! Whoa!
yes, you see, the isekai genre is ripe for parody. So, people who watch a certain Hololive VTuber, certain Peacock, might actually already know the artist for this series. The series being called Do You Love Your Mom and Her 2-Hit Multi-Target Attacks. Shortened to Okasan Online to spare us from having to take multiple breaths in order to just say the name. Now, this does require a little bit of context, because one day, flashback with me a couple of years, Jitaku and I were in a bookstore. And
just so you're aware, when he says a couple years, he means 2018.
Yes.
That's how old this is.
This is going back a long time ago, before half you baboos were born. To the distant year of 2018.
Back before most of you were born.
Yep. We were there when the Dark Magic was written. And so we're going through the manga section, and we're looking at what all catches our eye. And Itaku points to one and says, "Oh, that one there. That one is named Dr. Stone. It's quite good. You should read it sometime." And he leaves it at that, and he begins moving on to the next books aligned in alphabetical order. I stop and take a look at it, and then my eye catches something not far down the row from Dr. Stone, which was, again,
it wasn't just not far, it was literally just
right next to it.
Yeah.
Right next to it is Do You Love Your Mom? And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? So I pick it up, and I look at the back, and I quickly read over the synopsis. It's like, yeah, every young man's fantasy, at least in Japan, is to live anywhere other than Japan and go to fantasy world where you can, enjoy your ego trip, and really, really dumb, inconsistent power set that largely just cribs from, the first 3 or 4 big isekai stories. Seriously, stop trying to claim that scanning stuff is some big ability. We all know why you're doing it. Anyway, this is yes, that sort of happens, but what would happen if the teenage Japanese protagonist had his mom come along? And I was like,
and so
you talked me into it.
The entire thing basically boils down to is that he is not actually that overpowered. His mom tags along, and she is the stupidly overpowered. The issue is that she has no... So she has to rely on her increasingly irritated son to explain how MMOs work.
You see, the whole thing starts when one Masato is asked to do this anonymous survey at his school. And he fills it out very nonchalant, just like, okay, yeah, whatever. I'm just going to do this real quick so I can go home and not be at school. Because Masato is kind of your generic angsty teenager. And I mean, we all went through it. Come on. If you're watching my channel, you probably have not gone through it. In fact, you're probably 7 years from going through it. But let me tell you, you're going to become cringe. Like, you don't know you're cringe, but you are. And then when you're a couple years removed from it, you'll be like, wow, I was really cringe. And that's okay, because all of us go through that.
It's okay. It's okay. It is a rite of passage. Everyone has to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's okay.
So you'll recover. I promise. So he's being an angsty teenager, and this government agent comes to their house, and this lady named Shirase, informs them, because that is her job.
Not Shirase.
No, she's not. It's not Shirase or Shirase. It's just Shirase.
Not yet, anyway.
And it's her job to inform people, because her name, Shirase, means to inform. And so she is sent to inform them that they have been chosen for a study/therapy/government benefits program that is kind of like a special family bonding experience. The rationale being that they want to increase and enhance family bonding and family unity in the Japanese family unit. And she kind of has to explain, and this is somewhat explained like kind of way later in the light novels and doesn't even come up in the anime at all, that Masato's father is away on his job, traveling for work across the country. But they're like, nah, don't sweat it. This is good enough. As long as it's a parent and a child, it's fine. And we're not going to ask really too many questions, because they are going to be the prototypical... not the very first, but among the very first, to play the MMORPG. I did not have a stroke just now. That's actually what it's called.
This is important to understand with Masato. Basically, he has a good relationship with his dad. It's just his dad never...
The dad does not show up till like way later.
An extremely protective mother.
Yes. So his mom, Mamako.
Do you ever get the sense that there's some nominative determinant?
Just a little bit.
Is she a tiger mom because she's named Mom? Or is she because she's a tiger mom?
The world will never know. In fact, we actually don't know anything about Masato's grandparents. Maybe I should write the author and ask and just be like, what were Masato's grandparents like? What was the lineage that led us to this point? So they're like, it's basically a full dive isekai MMORPG. And you literally just like log into this website and inexplicably they are drawn into the game. And they're like, how'd you do that? And Shirase's answer is, no, don't worry about it. And they're like, no, seriously, how did you do that? And she's like, if I told you, I'd have to kill you.
I told you. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. It's not important. So don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. So they arrive inside the MMO.
How did you do that? I just left.
That's
later.
That comes later. So they end up in the MMORPG. And Masato is like, oh, it's finally come to fruition. I'm going to be the main character of an isekai, and I'm going to have like a bajillion girlfriends, and I'm going to get all these cool superpowers, and I'm going to be cooler than everyone else. And then his mom's there. And she's like, what are we doing? And he's like,
What?
I can't
like,
be
oh,
cool.
you didn't read the fine print. I'm supposed to come with you. We're gonna adventure as a party.
And
FML. All right.
Masato's just like, I can't be cool. I can't have a million girlfriends. I can't become the main character with my mom looming over my shoulder.
It gets even worse. Because when they do try and actually get a member later, she basically interviews all the others like their marriage. It's a marriage interview. And she's like, so why are you so, qualified to, the wife of my dear baby boy? And the only one who actually like withstands this basically just starts sassing her back. She's like, oh, you.
No, you're
you're
skipping one candidate because several of them. The thing is, in the game, they mention that most of the people in the game right now are actually NPCs running on a very sophisticated AI system. So it's kind of difficult to tell who's a player and who's like an NPC. So like the first round of people they're interviewing end up actually being NPCs. So they have very like hive-minded one-note answers. Like Masato's like, oh, we're gonna need like a tank, we're gonna need a support, and we're gonna need like a flanker. Because Masato's class is normal hero. And Mamoko's class is normal hero's mother. And their job in this world is to achieve a normal level of familial closeness and happiness. That is their mission. And Masato's like, how do you even do that? And they're like, that's actually not our problem. That's for you to figure out. And they just kind of launch them off. And they're like, oh yeah, we can't have you guys feeling underpowered. So like one of the NPCs is like, quote unquote, the king, who has like no authority at all. And he's like, okay, when I was young, we started off the game with a stick. And Mamoko's like, yeah, you had to start with a stick, and you had to grind slimes for like 1,000,000 hours just to buy the first sword.
And meanwhile, Snek's like, oh, I just felt my spine just crawling. It's like, because imagining Momoko playing Dragon Quest 1.
It's like, oh, my old man hip, my escrow.
Lumbago.
And so they're like, okay, like gaming has changed some sensibility. So you get to pick a legendary artifact, and they show them 3 magical swords. And they're like, oh, you can pick like whatever one's calling out to you. So Masato picks first, and he gets Firmamento, the legendary blade of the sky. And it has an ability where it deals, I believe, double or triple damage against flying enemies or enemies that are in the air. So it
deals a huge amount of damage and basically instantly kills almost anything that's in the air.
Yep.
And this is not like flying. This is literally like
if your feet are not on the ground, you count.
Yeah.
So it's actually a pretty powerful effect. The sword itself is not shabby in any regards, but it's just like if the enemy is like land-bound, then it's kind of just like a higher than average, very high quality sword kind of thing. Momoko, not really thinking it through, is like, oh, well, there's 3 swords, and my son took one, so the other 2 must be mine. So she takes both. And
when asked about this, they're like, it's okay. The hero's mother is more assume that moms don't video games.
Yeah, moms
so
don't
this is the balancing factor.
Moms don't get games the way that their sons do, so her having 2 is probably fine. So she gets Terra di Madre and I can't remember the water sword's name. They're the swords of the mother of the land and the sword of the mother of the sea. And so the thing they learn is Momoko's blades, when swung, target all applicable nearby enemies and hit twice. So that's where the title comes from, to hit multi-target attacks. They're thrust into the game and the interview rounds begin. and Mamako is kind of grilling these girls. So like the first ones they get are NPCs. So they get this paladin girl, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a tank. I meant to soak damage for the party." And Mamako is like, everything that Mamako asks her, she's like, "Oh, I get hit really hard. I like being hit really hard." And Mamoko's like, "Are are you a masochist?" And the paladin's like, "Yeah, basically I am." And Mamoko's like, "No, get out. You are not okay." And then there's like a cleric, and the whole thing is she's like, "Oh, like I'm a priestess of light, and I heal people." And Mamoko's like, "Oh, what do you do? Like when you're not on an adventure?" And the priest is like, "Oh, I travel to the various churches in order to complete my pilgrimage." And Mamoko's like, "Oh, we're not really religious, so you kind of suck. Go away." Eventually, they meet another player, and it's this girl who's several years younger than Masato. And she's like, "Oh yeah, like my mom isn't here right now. It's just me." But I'm playing a non-combat class. She was in an item crafter class.
She was a merchant. Her entire thing is that she has, not only does she have Dora the Explorer's backpack, just a bag, everything that anyone can ever think of, she actually has a lot of really good appraisal skills and all these, much like the dreaded scan ability that Snek, was talking about. The issue is that her stats rock, and she has no combat.
Yep, she is a exclusively non-combat class, and they're like, "Don't worry about it. If you're a non-combat class, monsters will never target you." Now, if she gets caught in an AoE, that's different, but the monsters will not consciously target her. Which is kind of an issue later in the light novels, where they get into that with like, "Oops, that's kind of an oversight." So,
but Porta is precious, and she deserves all the head pat.
Yes.
She is basically adopted by Mamako.
Yeah, she basically is. Porta is this very sweet little lady who just wants to help people. She is just kind of this bundle of positive energy. And Masato's like, you're not waifu material, but you are Emoto potential. And then Mamoko's like, "No, it's okay if she marries you." And Porta's like, "Yes, I will do my best."
Mom, I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
And Porta's just like, "I'll do my best to be Masato's wife." And he's like, "That is not what we're bringing you into the party to be. Just forget all that. That's not important." And they get this application, and it's just a piece of paper with like basically a self-summary typed out on a page. And Masato's like, "Oh, this girl strikes me as like a hothead. She's definitely trouble. I'm not going to deal with this." So he crumples the paper up and throws it away, and the paper goes, "Ow!" And he's like, "I'm sorry. What?" Within the page is the sage, whose screen name is Wise. And now, if you're wondering why I specify screen name, it's because Masato and Mamako, when asked what their names are, give their actual given names. And Wise is like, "How stupid do you have to be to use your real name as your screen name in an MMO, let alone an MMORPG?" So, and the thing is, the anime cut out a glorious moment that's in the books, and I don't think they could have gotten away with it, because there's a bit where after Wise teleports with Masato away in order to lecture him on how rude it was for him crumpling her up and throwing her away, she creates a blade out of wind magic and chops Masato's arm off. And as he's freaking out, about to like contemplate how he's going to die, she heals him, and it just gets fixed. And he's like, "Are you serious right now? Did that really just happen?" And she's like, "Yes, that is exactly how things work. Healing magic is real."
I just want you to know. I could do this to you at any time.
I can do this to you as much as I want, because my special ability is double casting. I can just chain cast and blow you up with fire magic, or chop you into pieces with wind magic, or just freeze you. I can literally do anything I want. And you just have to accept that I'm here. And the coolest thing is, and the anime actually does this scene pretty well, where Masato calls her at bluff. And he's like, you're doing this because you're actually desperate for friends. Like, you want more than anything to just be close to someone who cares.
No.
That is basically her response. And he's just like, okay, fine. You can join our party. Just like stop being a freak about this.
The first major enemy they encounter, Wise's mom, the Queen of the Night, who also has a absolutely ridiculous.
She basically has access to every spell in the game, and then some. Because her obsession is kidnapping hot young dudes and using them as living furniture.
And so her entire thing is she like basically models herself after like sexy, goth vampire. And so she's, dolled up like someone who's going out to the club. And yeah, she's just lounging on these who are all dressed up in like black.
So I was gonna make a joke about how this is just, Snek's fetish as a manga, but this is just a fetish manga.
Actually, it's not. It really isn't.
People will see these scenes out of context, and they'll go, it's a fetish manga, or fetish anime, and they'll give up all interest. Here's what I'm telling you, you're wrong, but here's why. Do they make a few jokes about Mamoko's physique? Yes. Pretty much like right off the bat, they get them all out of their system, and then it just goes from there. The thing is, it's weird, but it's supposed to be weird. You're supposed to see it and go, golly, that sure is weird. That's not okay. That is literally the joke being made. Mamako is supposed to be like uncomfortably hot for her age. And the thing is, she's married, she's faithful to her husband, and the only like guy around to quote unquote appreciate it is Masato, who like every time it comes up, he's like, I want to move to Brazil. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see my mom in her underwear. I don't want any of this, and I hate myself that I have to endure this. So when Wise's mom shows up, and she's being all femme fatale goth vampire dummy mommy, Wise is like, oh my god, I hate you. I hate everything you stand for. You are the worst person to ever exist.
And the worst part is, too, is it's at that point that we learn what Wise's real and it's basically at this point that Wise shuts down the entire like aesthetic of the Queen of the Night being this like suave, demure. Because basically as soon as Wise realizes who it is, she's like, oh, for the love of God, name after your favorite J-pop singer.
No, it's worse.
What the hell is...
It's
right.
actually
right,
worse. She was obsessed with host clubs.
Yes,
and she
right,
named Wise. Her actual given name is the same name as her favorite, like, boy host from one of these host clubs. And Wise is like, I've always hated you for giving me this stupid name. It's a guy's name. And you named me this. And, like, now I'm stuck with it. And you've like, the whole thing that you will see is every villain in the series is kind of some shadow of the idea of a healthy familial relationship. And the Queen of the Night's whole thing is the selfish mother who probably shouldn't have been a mother. And her whole thing is like, oh, having a daughter only prevented me from having fun when I was young. I didn't go out and party. I didn't get to do all this like crazy stuff. I didn't get to go binge drinking. And Mamako actually calls her out. And she's like, that's a terrible thing for you to be focused on when you're a mother. You have to stand up and take responsibility for your child. That becomes your highest priority. And it actually gives Mamako this ludicrous stat buff. Because here's another thing. The Queen of the Night is literally hacking the game. She was given a series of like hex codes where she could summon items or do things that are outside the bounds of the game. Shirase shows up, I'm sorry, Shirase shows up and tries to help.
You'll notice throughout this that Shirase, the executive who showed up, keeps showing up in various capacities. But you don't know, guys. You don't understand. It's not Shirase. It's Shirase. It's Shirase.
Yes. It's not Shirase,
So
because Shirase is your average boring office worker who like happens to have a kid. No, this is the impeccable, completely placid nun, Shirase. And they're totally different, you guys. Don't confuse them. Shirase gets impaled and killed into a tree. But it's okay, death is not permanent in this game, because revival magic is a staple of MMORPGs, and she's fine. Wise is able to revive her, she's fine. But
once again, this is kind of a recurring thing that keeps happening. She keeps getting killed and increasingly but death is not really anything more than you're just kind of to lay there and just wait for someone to resurrect.
When you die, you get stuffed into a coffin and you can't really move, but it's basically the same as being asleep. Like, nothing bad really happens to you. As said, all damage is impermanent in this world, which is by design. You're not supposed to die. This is not Sword Art Online. You're supposed to survive and learn something from it. So
after they defeat her, and so basically Mamako smacks the crap, and I want to say the two of them then sort of make up.
Insofar as the two hotheads can make up. They bicker. The thing is, Mamoko's like, when they're bickering and they're yelling and slinging insults, in a way, they're finally just being honest with themselves. A lot of this tension comes from a lack of communication, and even if it's not the healthiest form of communication, they are finally having a discussion. Probably one they needed for many, many, many years. So Shirase is like, well, we're not going to ban them from the game. But that's because the Queen of the Night, I can't remember her name, it's just blah. She knows about someone handing out these cheats, and that is a big no-no. But if she cooperates and answers some questions, she will eventually be freed and allowed to resume the game as normal. And for now, Wise is like permitted to accompany Mamako and Masato and Porta.
According to the Do You Love Your Two-Hit wiki, her name is Kazuno.
Right, Kazuno. So she's taken out of the picture, and Wise stays with the group for now. And then we pretty much move right along. Like, by now we're at, I think, volume 3 in the light novels, and in the anime we're kind of in the latter half. And we end up learning that one of the quests that, helpful nun Shirase gives them is that there's an adventurer school. And you can gain a whole bunch of SP. Because, see, not only do you level up, you get SP, you unlock skills, you increase your range and your specializations. And if you attend this school, you can just get, like, a boatload of SP. And they're like, well, the Japanese government has to give it an educational bent in order to justify it because we are using taxpayer money for this program. So they make this school, and they're like, we kind of had to build it really fast, so the NPCs here just have ASCII art for faces. So in this area, you actually can tell who's an NPC.
Yeah. And there's actually this entire situation. One of the early is literally Mamako shows up, and she's wearing a 90s Fuku school uniform, whereas everybody else is just wearing, like, kind of normal.
Several of the boy NPCs. Several of the boy NPCs try asking her out, and she's like, "That's super sweet of you, but I'm married." the rival of the hour arrives in the form of the healer cleric Medi and her very, very controlling tiger mom, Medi Mama. And, like, if there was ever a perfect villain tiger mom, Medi Mama kind of embodies it. She is, like, you have to win. If you don't win, you suck. And no daughter of mine is going to suck. Do you understand? Not in those words. She's a lot more Ojo-sama elegant.
I mean, it basically boils down to, yeah. And honestly, I think the ultimate confrontation between Medimama, I think hits a lot harder to home than really for Mamako, because, like, it's very clear that Mamako gives for her family. So, you know, like, dealing with a hedonist like the Empress of the Night, Queen of the Night, isn't a problem. I mean, it's just like, look, you know, being a mom is basically sacrifice. But in this one, it literally is like, you know, she's like, you can't just, you know, control your child. And Medimama basically throws back with, well, yeah, but that's what you do. And it's kind of this back and forth in that regard.
Yep.
So.
And the thing that you see, and the anime has a great scene for this, where they're doing a swimming race. And the teacher even makes a joke. He's like, remember, this is an MMO, so, like, weird stuff can live in the water and attack you. And, you know, they all hit the water, and Mamako is like, oh, you know, Masato, just do your very best. It doesn't matter, you know, if you're first or not, just make sure you're not getting hurt. Because, again, there's weird stuff in the water. Medimama is like, don't you dare lose. And Medi just kind of loses all motivation and just kind of, like, starts floating in the water like a corpse. And, like, she gets smoked, obviously, because she just literally stops. And Mamako is like, you can't do that. Like, you're piling the weight of the world on her. And Medimama's like, I'm trying to bring out the best in her. Like, I'm pushing her to greater heights. You know, I'm going to make her potential manifest. And what's actually really interesting is the entire thing is building up. Like, oh, well, they're going to fight Medimama the same way they fight the Queen of the Night. No, it's Medi who snaps. Medi goes berserk and actually transforms into a great dragon. And starts attacking everyone because she's finally just been pushed to her limit. And it's basically like Masato, Wise, and Porta have to work together to just try to stop the damage as much as possible. And Mamako is like, you have to go out there to your daughter. Like, she's going crazy because you did this to her. And now, like, she needs someone to be there and love her. Otherwise, like, this is what she is going forward. She's going to be this dragon monster. And, you know, eventually they do get through and to help explain, like, you know, it's okay. We're going to make this okay. And they like, not without everyone kind of getting wrecked by Dragon Medi. They do defeat her, and she eventually returns to normal. And as I recall, Shirase has to show up and take Medimama away because, again, she's using hacks and stuff that she shouldn't have. Like, moms are supposed to be overpowered in this game. They're not supposed to break the framework of the game. So Medi, for similar reasons as Wise, is allowed to stay with the party. And again, to frustrate Masato, because Masato is, like, super into Medi. He sees her and, like, immediately is like, this is the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. And, you know, she puts on that very elegant, you know, I'm very, you know, well put together attitude. It's not until
basically like a stereotypical Yamato Nadeshiko.
Yes.
Just so everyone's aware, she's very much got that aesthetic going down.
It's not until, like, he sees her, like, basically throwing a tantrum where she has her forehead, like, pressed into a wall, and she's just kicking the wall repeatedly, growling about how much she hates how controlling her mother is. And Masato is like, everyone I meet is crazy. I am the only sane man standing in an insane world, and I have no choice but to be involved.
This is not even the weirdest thing that's happened. That I would argue that weirdness, if I'm remembering the order of events. Bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I think I read about. I watched the entire anime.
The anime only goes up to like volume 4 or 5, as I recall, and there's 11 volumes.
Okay, then I've read about 60%.
All right,
because I read up to about volume 6, and things get a little bit nuts because the next bit is the dungeon tower, isn't it? With
yes.
where you start seeing the Libere for Heavenly Kings.
That's right. You start getting into the Anti-Mother Rebellion, Libere, or they say it a couple different ways, but the whole thing is it's a group of players who split up from their mothers for varying reasons and are just like, no, we're tired, we're going to be independent, we don't need them, this whole game is stupid, and we want nothing to do with it.
Are there any dads in this game?
In canon, the answer to that is yes, but we don't really see any of them because, okay, I've been dancing around it. The MMORPG is like maternal. Hang on, I think I have to look this up because I've been deliberately putting off discussing it. So I will say in one of the later light novels, we do get to meet Hayato Osuki, who is Masato's father. And he is actually really cool. He's actually this really, really very sharp, well-to-do guy. He's kind of a goober, but that's like very, very in line with like Masato. You kind of see where a lot of his characteristics come from. Let's just say the apple didn't fall too far from the tree. I can't reach my bookshelf from here, and I can't find it online. So it's like massively maternal mother making up with offspring online role-playing game. So it's very mom-centric. So, are there dads, canonically speaking? Yes, there are. As far as the story is concerned, not especially.
I was about to say, it came to my attention reading over the Wikipedia synopsis that it might, instead of being Libere, the light novels, it could also be read as Rebelle as well.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I mean, it's supposed to be a anti-mother
rebellion, yeah. The whole thing is there's 4 heavenly kings of the rebellion, and each of them is given a specific hack that makes them incredibly powerful. And really the only one we see in the anime...
Amante the Invulnerable.
Yes. Amante gets a ability that basically can negate or reflect any kind of attack. Whether it's physical or magical is irrelevant. And they have to go through this ridiculous tower dungeon that's just like every floor has some kind of gimmick or way to kill you or confuse you or like throw you back out. And one of the funniest bits is there's a bit with a maze on one of the floors, and the group gets split up. And Masato, as he's exploring, sees Mamako, and she's like, oh, the exit's this way. And so he starts heading towards her, and then there's suddenly another Mamako. And she's like, no, the exit is this way. And then the room is just like flooded with copies of Mamako, all trying to get Masato to go one direction or another. And he's just like, you know what? This is stupid. I'm not getting involved. And he deliberately triggers a floor trap to like lock them all in a big cage. And he's like, it was simple. It was process of elimination. Like, you all wanted me to go the wrong way, so I just had to go the one way you guys were trying to steer me away from, and I'll easily find my way. So there have been so many memes from that scene with like all like the copy Mamikos, including it's like, what happens the instant you turn your ad blocker off? It's like, oh, hot moms in your area.
That's not even the funniest part of this dungeon. One of the, and I don't think they really did this in the anime. There was an entire section where in order to even enter, they had to create a guild. And so what did Mamiko do? She talked to all the moms in the local village and basically made a mom guild. And so basically all the adventurers that helped them up to this point in this dungeon crawl are just a bunch of other middle-aged women, which helps because I want to say like immediately after the maze is this entire shopping district where in order to get past the guardian to the next floor, you need to actually have saved a certain amount of yen in order to, find your super duper bargain. And they're like, no adventurer can do this because adventure is stupid with money. Meanwhile, all the moms, because haggle.
Moms are there clipping coupons and searching for the sales.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's exactly what happened, yes. And Amante is getting very, very... She's the only one who actually restocks any of this. And so she's just wandering around.
The thing that ends up happening when they get to Amante, they keep trying all their different, like, oh, well, I'll try a physical attack. Well, that didn't work. Let's try a magical attack. Well, that didn't work. And then Mamiko is like, you know what? I have no choice. And Amante's like, oh, like, if you use your swords, it's going to bounce off me, and it's going to hit all of you guys repeatedly, and like, there's nothing you can do about it. And she goes, tut, tut, and waves her finger at Amante. And it fires off a huge laser cannon, blasting Amante into the far wall. And she's like, what just happened? That makes no sense. Why did it not bounce off my barrier? And she goes, well, obviously...
You have to understand that this is kind of leading from an earlier power she got, whereupon whenever she got excited and happy, she would start to glow, and it would actually increase stats. And so this is ultimately, they explain, it's like, look, the entire thing with your invulnerable Aegis is the fact that it would be able to bounce away anything that harms you. A mother's scolding, the name of the attack that she just did, is born of... It bypasses your shield. Yep. This is the most, exalted scenario. BRB going to attack you with
this
the
isn't
power
technically
of love.
an attack.
It's not an attack. It's made of pure love. So obviously it's not based on hostility. Therefore, it's not an attack. That's just logic.
And also they encounter a dark avatar, a dark doppelganger, Hahako. But I honestly cannot tell you what happens after that.
Okay, so basically the next, the anime ends. With Amante's defeat in the tower, the anime ends. There's an OVA episode that's not based on the light novels, and it is a little uncomfortable because it kind of leans into that whole her fetish anime. They kind of try to do this very awkward, uninteresting amnesia plotline that they really just shouldn't have done. They really play up the fan service bits, which, do the light novels do that? Yeah, a little bit, but not to the same degree.
We had to explain to Cog. There's one of the earliest battles, literally their time a pack of slimes that evolve into a slime that will actually dissolves Monaco's clothing. But here's the thing, though. It's just kind of mentioned as like, and meanwhile in the anime, basically like 5-minute segment where they just show her clothes disappearing and oh darn.
There is fan service. I'm not going to say for an instant that there isn't, but it's not the focus. It really isn't. It's all played for laughs. Because again, it's Masato's suffering. The heart of comedy is someone is suffering. Masato's suffering is the joke.
I mean, and to be perfectly fair, ladies and gentlemen, the author makes multiple comments about the fact that his favorite fan is his own mother, who basically reads all of his. I don't know about you, but if I was like writing fetish material, I think the last person I would want to have is my mother. So
yeah. So the anime ends with Amante's defeat. And if you watch the anime and we're like, wow, that sure was incredibly fetishy, that's like a little bit weird and uncomfortable. I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand. But I'm going to do that thing that hipsters do, where it's like, the novels were much better. Because they were.
Oh, see, here I thought you were going, that's not the point.
No, and it isn't. First off, the novels were better. And again, the focus of the novels is quite different. Like, there's a lot of gags that aren't used in the anime because, like, Masato is exposed to a lot of violence. And one of the running gags is that Wise, when she gets angry, will just chain cast death, revive, over and over and over again. And she actually kills Masato so frequently and so often. He develops a skill that allows his spirit to leave the coffin that his body is entombed in and walk around and, like, recon the area while he's dead. That's actually how he makes some major strides, where he like starts spying on the Liberia Rebellion, and he's like, oh, well, okay, now I know this, because like I'm bored of being dead all the time, so I just got up and left.
You just left? I just left.
And so I don't remember the names, I'll be honest. It's been a while since I sat down and read the light novels. I do need to go through them again, because I do have all 11, because they're really good reads. And all very brisk. Each light novel is, again, light. So they won't take up too much of your time. Amante is like the muscle of the rebellion. She is the physically strongest member, but she's also the dumbest one. So basically she has this habit where when she's trying to keep a secret, the first thing her instinct is to basically blab it out. So that's kind of her running gag, is she's just like, haha, I bet you wish you knew this valuable information, but I'm totally not going to tell you that valuable information. And Masato's like, thank you for that valuable information, idiot. There's the goth girl, and her whole thing is she's like some kind of dark sorcerer, and she's like the schemer, but has like the worst stats of the four of them. So she really just wants nothing more than to not engage in combat. So she tries to set up like tricks and traps. One of them is they're kind of described as this dwarf with like a really bushy beard. And Masato ends up getting separated from his team and meets them on this deserted island. Otherwise deserted island, I should say. And the dwarf is like, oh, it's all about manly spirit. You gotta have your hot blood. You gotta be capable. You gotta be dependable. And Masato's like, yeah, I get what you're saying. That makes perfect sense. And the two of them like start palling around together, and it's only later on the dwarf is like, oh yeah, like I'm part of the rebellion, and Masato's like, I'm not gonna leave my party. Like I do get on with my mom, which is actually a thing that I should note is from the start to the end of the series, you notice Masato is being more thoughtful. He's being more courteous towards his mother. He's actually building a more mature relationship with her. And the dwarf then reveals that they don't actually have a beard at all. It's their hair like tied around to the front to look like a beard because it's actually a girl. And she's just like obsessed with like this idea. It's like, oh, it's manly spirit. And Misato's like, seriously? For like a split second, I thought I'd meet someone else on this game who kind of had the same ideology as me, but now you just kind of sucked all the wind out of it. And usually, I don't remember that one even engaging in a fight. They tended to hoist themselves on their own petard. Uh, and I'll be honest, I don't even remember who the fourth one is. But along the way, there is the Mother Tournament arc, where the moms of the server gathered together to compete to prove who was the number one mom in the game. And this is where I think, this is why Jitaku needs to resume reading them, is because one of the ones who's very prominent from here to the end of the series is a werewolf mommy. During the Mother Tournament, there suddenly appears, from the depths of the game's coding, Hahako. And Hahako is a dark doppelganger of Mamako. And she's like, basically the game was trying to self-correct. And in so doing, was trying to understand why Mamako was so OP. And it's like, well, obviously, as a mother, she's not, like, spectacular in the sense of just being beyond understanding. What she's doing is, like, what a mother should do. But she's not superhuman. She doesn't have superpowers. She's not, well, let's be honest, she's not especially bright. She's more hearth wisdom than intelligence, if you get my drift. But she still keeps coming out on top. Despite people who are literally hacking the game, she keeps winning. And Hako is like, I want to understand what you're doing. So the only thing that can possibly be different from you and any other mother must be the child. So it must be Masato doing it. And Masato's like, I'm sorry, what? I don't remember ever agreeing to anything of the sort. And Hahako is like, if I win the tournament, you have to give me Masato. They begin competing in the mom games. It's all things that moms excel at. Like, one of the examples was proper place setting. And, like, getting the forks and spoons in exactly the right order and the right alignment. And one of them was laundry on a rainy day where you can't hang it up on the post outside. And this goes on and on. They really kind of revel in a little bit of what's the word for it? I think the people on Twitter who like to complain perpetually would call it, my soggy knees or something. But honestly, it's pretty darn funny, I have to say. And while Hahako is ultimately defeated, she's like, I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not going to stop following you around until I understand what your deal is. And Mamoko's like, okay, you're welcome to do that, but you're not taking my son, for starters. There's one particular novel that doesn't quite fit in continuity with all the others, and I want to say it's volume 9 or 10, because it was actually an anthology of short stories that were from one of the serial publications in Japan that was like compiled into a actual volume. Thing is, it gets a little bit weird because there's a lot of like very sudden time jumps. Like, one of them's a Christmas story, one of them happens in the middle of summer, so it's kind of just very all over the place. The exact time span spent in the game is not really ever elaborated upon. I'd be curious to see if there's a fan theory on exactly how long they spent in the confines of the game, but I'm not sure there is a consensus on that. So, towards the end of things, one of the major shakeups is several of the imprisoned moms are released, including the Queen of the Night and Merimama. And Shirase shows up to be like, no, don't worry, they're fine. We We made sure to take away all their game-breaking hacks. They're not going to do that anymore. And they actually kind of form a team with Momoko to help out. In one volume, they form the Mom Idol group and actually start like putting on mom-themed concerts. And of course, Misato is just like, you know what? I ain't even mad. I'm used to this now. This is just how things work. In fact, one of the funniest bits in the book that happened not too long after where the anime would have let off was a bit where Misato is separated from the rest of the group while the rest of them are detained in a casino because, casinos and red light districts are definitely a thing you'd want in a family-oriented MMORPG, am I right? This game has them, by the way. So, while the other girls are busy, Misato is just like, oh my god, my time has come. I'm the hero now, and nothing can stop me from being the hero. So he is like skipping and singing to himself as he's slaughtering monsters in this hallway, and he's laughing because he's finally free to just do whatever he wants, and the monsters are like, this guy's crazy. He's gonna kill us all. So the monsters run away from him as he's doing this weird little dance down a hallway. I'm like, I wish so very much that I could have seen an animated adaptation of this particular scene, but alas, so sometimes good things just don't happen that way. And as promised, we do get to meet Misato's dad, who does join the game for kind of a while because there's this weird monster invasion event that's basically the equivalent of a raid sequence. And while there, he's like, you know what? I can't let them know it's me, but I do want to lend a hand. But I can't be dragged into it because my job demands that I'm there. But I can join them for a little while. And he goes in, and of course, Shirase has to be a bit of a conniving. Bit of a, not backstabber, that's the wrong word for it, but a bit of a conniver. So she basically helps him get in and use like a cloaking device to look different, like significantly younger than he actually is. And one of my favorite lines is when he meets at the party and helps them for a time. Wise is like, wow, he's nothing like you at all, Misato. Like, he's like, he looks like a kid, but he talks and acts like he's an adult. Like, meanwhile, you're a kid and you're trying really hard to be an adult, but you come off as a kid. And like, again, I wasn't joking. There are red light districts in this game. And Misato's dad, in a moment of paternal bonding with his boy, is like, son, we're going to it. We're going to the in-game red light district, and you shall be a man. And Misato's like, what are you going to do, Dad? And he's like, don't worry about it. It's not important. They go in. Misato is led into this room, and it's Kazuno and Medimama in the room. And he's like, you know what, just hurry up and kill me, because like I don't really want this to be belabored. So I'm gonna fast forward a bit because we're kind of we broached the hour mark already, and I'm sure everyone has stopped listening by now. But the final leg of the journey, I mean, again, the whole point is the normal hero and the normal hero's mother, their job is to achieve a normal level of familial love and understanding. And they go to these sky ruins where Misato's dad unmasks himself, and he's like, yeah, it's, I'm your old man, but, we have to... He's basically like, I want to see that you can actually do this. I'll see this journey through to its end. So he challenges Misato to a one-on-one duel. And he's like, oh yeah, Firmamento's a pretty neat sword. My sword is Universalis, and it's basically the upgraded version of Firmamento. And it's like in every way superior. And Misato's like, I don't care, I'm still going to kick your ass. So they start fighting, and during the fight, they shatter both holy swords across each other. And he's like, well, you know what this means? And Misato's like, yep, I'm going to punch you now. He's like, yep, that's right.
I'm kind of, it occurred to me as soon as you mentioned that basically it's like, so this went from being, a fetish to welcome to every single Hiro Mashima story. Literally.
I mean, now that you've said it, I can't unthink it. They kind of brawl for a while. Eventually, Shirase is like, "Okay, that's enough. Like you've proven your point, whatever it was supposed to be." And he's like, "Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna go. Kind of wrap up the game. Take care of your mother. And you made some wonderful young lady friends. Wink, nudge, nudge." And Misato's like, "Ew, gross, barf." The final challenge that they encounter, because at this point the rebellion has basically been more or less broken up. There's one final battle between Mamako and Hahako that kind of ends inconclusively, and Hahako is like, "Oh, I know what I've been doing wrong all this time. Is I've been trying to take someone else's kid when I should have my own kid." And Mamako's like, "Yes, you finally get it." And Hahako is like turns to the members of the rebellion and it's like, "You will be my kids." And at first they're like, "What? No, that's stupid." But like by the end they're like, "Yeah, you know what? This is not the worst case scenario. Maybe it's fine." So Shirase is like, "Whatever, I'll allow it." Because she's weirdly permissive about stuff she should probably question a little bit more.
Shirase would. Shirase.
Shirase would be much more studious. Shirase is just the helpful nun here to inform you about circumstances. So she also informs them that basically it's like, yeah, your journey's kind of coming to an end. They're like, the rebellion's squashed. We found the hacker. Oh, and I'm just going to spoil it. It was Porta's mom. Porta's mom is super, super, super evil. She went mad with power within like weeks of being in the game and started calling in favors that people owed her from the Japanese government in order to start hacking the game and doing whatever she wants. And basically making money by selling hacks to people who either wanted out of the system or just people who wanted to mess with it. And the thing is, you can come and go as you like. You're not locked in the game. And there's several times where Shirase explains, like, yeah, I had to go because like I have a family outside the game. I can't be here all the time. So like you're not trapped. This is again not Sword Art Online.
Yes. Yeah, she mentions like in the initial thing that Mamako asked, "Hey, are you a mom?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm 5-year-old." This is just her job.
Yep, it's a day job, and she gets to go home afterwards. So no one is really being held against their will. But like, yeah, Porta's mother, super, super evil, and more than a bit emotionally abusive towards Porta. The thing I actually really liked about that resolution was Masato was really the one who lectured her about her behavior. Read the book, it's good. So all the mysteries are solved. The rebellion is defeated and broken up, and Hahako has finally calmed down and has decided to like not cause enormous incidents. And they're like, "Oh yeah, like I think we've done it. I think we have achieved the normal hero's mission." And Mamako is like the only one not cheering. And Masato's like, "Hey, like we're getting on great. You've made new friends. Kazuno and Merimama aren't evil anymore. Like you've become friends with them. So like everything's good now, right?" And Mamako's like, "I don't want to go back. It's like I get to be here and raise you and see you grow and learn all these things and even have like bonding moments with your father. I don't want to go back." And the entire in-game world begins to tremble. Because remember, she has the holy swords, the very essence of the land and sea in her possession. And Mamako starts shifting the game subconsciously. Because she doesn't want it to end, there has to be a threat. So Mamako basically wills herself to become the final threat. And she turns into a giant and starts chasing them like just walking through the ocean as the party like jumps on the back of an airship and starts trying to fly away. And Masato's like, what do we do? I don't have a weapon anymore, in case you guys forgot. We have to come up with something. So Kazuna and Medimom are like, oh, don't worry, we're moms. And one of the things that moms love to do is they'll, like, if they run into another mom at like the supermarket or something, they'll stop and just talk for hours. And it won't be about any particular thing. They'll talk for its own sake. And Masato, this has come up throughout the series a couple times up to this point. So Masato's like, yes, it's perfect. We'll stall her. We'll get some distance away, and then we can come up with a plan. And Kazuna and Medimama are like, oh, hi, Mamiko. How's your day going? And Mamiko's like, oh, well, I turned into a giant, and I'm chasing after Masato and the others. It's been kind of a rough one. And they run out of things to talk about, like, instantly. And they're just like, and Masato's like, now? Of all times? Of all the times, you could have run out of things to discuss. You chose now to do it. And they're like, oh, I know. Masato decided that he was going to marry Medi. And Kazuna's like, oh, wait, no, he said he was going to marry Wise. And Mamiko's like, he can't marry both. That's not right. I'm going to have a stern talk to him about this. And Masato's like, why? Why did you pick that? Why are you doing this to me? So eventually, they're kind of forced onto this one island. And they're like, everything else is kind of just like falling and sloughing off into the ocean right now. So like, this is kind of where our last stand has to be. We have to make a point now, or like it's over. So Masato goes up to the edge of the island and is like, Mom, please stop. Just like listen to me for like 1 minute while I explain all this to you. And he's like, this was great. This game was an amazing experience, and I learned a lot, and I met a lot of new cool friends. And I'm happy for that. It's like, it's not going to all just stop because we're not in the game world anymore. There's like more for us to experience. And he's like, I get it now. Like, I'm a kid. I've been a kid trying to pretend like I'm an adult, but I'm not. And I know that even when I am an adult, you'll still be part of my life. And they have this very genuine, very heartfelt moment where they are just like, Mamiko starts calming down, and she's like, oh, no, I'm sorry about, turning giant and chasing after you. And he's like, yeah, please don't do that again. And she eventually, like, she shrinks back down to her normal state. And Shirase's like, okay, that's great. Please leave the game before someone changes their mind. And the series ends with Masato starting a new year in high school and learning that Wise, Medi, and Porta transferred into his high school. And they basically are like, yeah, no, we're going to be friends forever. And much like we'll be friends forever, you'll always have that close relationship with your mother. And like your family will be stronger for it. And like it's a very, very wholesome, very satisfying ending. I really, really enjoyed reading through these books. So now, Noodle-san, I'm going to open the floor to you to answer questions or clarify or poorly attempt to defend myself, depending on what it is you say next.
Not really any questions other than, it was just like, I don't know, it seemed a little odd that it was entirely moms when it was supposed to be about families.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I get a very important part of that. But,
right.
And just like, I don't know, I understand why you like it. Especially with that finale. I understand why you like it.
I'm making a face right now, and you can't see it, but I know that you know that I know that you know what face it is.
I know exactly what face you're making, but you're not beating the allegations.
I suppose not.
Yeah, no real questions. It's just, I don't know. I'm simultaneously like, oh, maybe I should go read this, and also like, I don't know if there's some dark world that I'll get my...
Okay. First off, there's 11 volumes, and each book is relatively short. It's all a pretty brisk read. I actually read through them very casually, like on my lunch break at work. They won't take up too much of your time. If you like the Japanese sense of humor, like if you watch like a lot of anime, and I don't mean you, I mean like you, the listener. Uh, if you like anime, if you like the Japanese sense of humor, if you like the bit where most characters have some kind of running gag or like some kind of token expression they'll use, stuff like that, you're gonna love it. If you hate that style of humor, if you don't like uh, anime, let's just say you're not going to really have a very fun time. It's not going to be for you.
What are you doing listening to us?
Yeah, like why are you on my channel? Like I don't even understand. But yeah, like the whole thing there is just the question of, do you want this very silly, over a little bit maudlin at times story about a mother and her son and his eclectic harem of increasingly abusive girlfriends? That's just, it is what it is. It has no pretension. It doesn't try to reinvent the wheel. It just tries to have a lot of fun with it.
I mean, I'd argue that it's notable just for that. I mean, not for nothing, but pretty much most every other isekai is trying to either say something, trying to be fetish material, do Musoshu Tensei, Sword Art Online, or is just trying to tell some kind of like broad, overarching, really maudlin story. Looking at you, Shield. As much as I like you,
Shield Hero is pretty good. Like we were talking about it earlier, it's like you just watch the anime and let it ride at that point. You kind of stop at the point where the novels start really having pacing issues.
And that's why Log Horizon is the superior isekai.
Log Horizon is great. But that's the fun of Okasan Online. It's silly. It doesn't try to be anything it's not supposed to be. It doesn't do the Sword Art Online of unnecessary, pointless edge. It's not an incest story. Let me start there. Dutaku shared a meme that happened to have Mamako in it, and someone in the comments is like, "Oh, is that incest anime?" It's like, no, it isn't. As a matter of fact.
Are you referring to a kill or send a Leninist to Brazil for your
for mommy? Yes. And like all I'm saying is it is a simple story executed well. There are one or two volumes that do drag a little bit, but each of them is so short you won't be stuck in a rut for long. And the general pacing is brisk, it's fun, it's goofy. It's just there to make you laugh and to have a couple heartfelt moments where you're like, yeah, family is really important. And some people do need a wake up call with respects to that.
Maybe that's the reason why there's in a family, game. The will of Shinzo Abe.
I am no longer asking. I'll tell you a funny aside. I did briefly contemplate a family-specific story that's kind of similar, where they're drawn into an MMO, and the whole joke was only one member of the family was a gamer, and like the parents didn't really know anything about games, the siblings didn't really know anything about games, and they were there like trying to coach them through the content. I haven't done anything with it, but I think there's potential there.
The dog was the gamer.
The dog and the cat had accounts too, so they got sucked into the game too.
See, the thing that I would think would be like super hilarious would be if like in that sort of MMO thing, if it did start off with the dad, or with just like the mom and the son, like, you know, this did, and then the dad comes in and he's, you know, just as much of a nerdy gamer as the son, and so then it's just like immediately power levels his way up. Yeah. That would have been, that would be hilarious, but, you know.
Sorry I'm late, son. Killmaster 9000, that's your father. I know that gamer tag. I
brought in my WoW character that I leveled to maximum at the first expansion.
Oh, so you're like
Wow,
level
Dad,
60.
you're actually like super under leveled now. You've been crazy power crapped. No. Yeah,
Looks
it's
like
like
Killmaster
none of your
9000.
gear is best in slot anymore.
Looks like Killmaster 9000 is going to have to get back on the raid train.
I don't know. Maybe I should write a short family isekai and we can share it as an episode at some point. I don't know. Leave a comment down below if you're still listening. Leave a comment down below. And should I do this? Do I need to write this story? Is that the kind of content you guys want to see?
I mean, I think it would work if you, especially if this is like a long. So yeah, you could actually have something where I haven't played this game in years, but it's all right.
It's
I'm
okay.
a veteran.
I know exactly what I'm doing. When was the last time you played? 5 expansions ago.
Last time I played, let's see, when you were in the 2nd grade.
Dad, I'm 14. Oh dear God, we're missing a.
My knowledge is gonna be a tiny bit outdated, but don't worry. People who play MMORPGs online are definitely sane and normal people who definitely won't troll you for literally any reason.
I'll just go into the voice chat and try and ask someone for help. Everyone's telling me I need to move to Brazil. That's weird. I don't even speak Portuguese.
You know what you need to do then? You know what you need to do? You'd actually have to have a similar situation to construct number 8 and actually have it just be like, all right, now guess. Now what number is divisible by 4? And so everyone's getting it wrong except the 8-year-old little.
No, guys, it's really simple. Why are you getting basic arithmetic wrong?
This isn't that hard.
There is nothing the average MMO user fears more than basic math.
I thought it was girls or basic hygiene.
Oh, joke's on you.
Too.
Joke's on you. This boss encounter is a girl who's also a hygienist.
It's a girl who will take
who makes you
and wash your character.
And then she makes you do basic math. The ultimate gamer fear manifested.
I think I'm gonna go place. Guys, he disconnected.
I'm out.
Just gonna take the hit on this one. I don't want to do this raid. How many Jimmies are in this part?
An echo of Jimmy voices respond across the entire raid of 40 people. There were 32 Jimmys. Yes.
That's actually the name of our guild.
Fatherlessness.
Fatherless children. Ooh, harsh.
Wait, do all of you guys have Chatiko for a mother? Or are all of your mothers just different copies of Chatiko? How does this work? All right, we have delved down a very strange rabbit hole.
They all went out for lasagna.
Obviously. All right, I'm throwing the handbrake on this episode. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me and listening to my ranting for an hour and 10 minutes about how good this one niche light novel series is.
You're welcome, Professor. You're welcome.
I do appreciate you guys humoring me.
I'm just glad that we were able to do this again.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have a couple other makeup episodes from season 2 before it's all said and done. And not all of them. Some things, maybe it's just better to let certain ones go. But the ones we really liked, we'll definitely be revisiting.
You don't want to watch Secon Academy again?
Second Academy was really good, actually. Cog was the one who had a beef with that episode. But maybe we'll cover that soon.
If there's any subjects you guys want us to cover, feel free to put them in the comments down below. As always,
that is sound and solid advice.
We'll probably do them because you excellent superior patricians who do that.
Yeah, no, that helps us out a lot. Do that like, comment, subscribe combo if you haven't already. This has been the Brothers Pugum and the Hipster Snek, and we're going to see you guys next time.